Hi and welcome back. We've been very busy this week. If you noticed, my refrigerator is now behind me. We are rearranging everything because we have a new refrigerator that is coming this week and we need to do a little bit of clean out. We're going to do some meal prep so it's easier to transfer from one fridge to the other whenever that gets here. And I'll go ahead and show you what the kitchen looks like now. I still need to replace the cabinets and the floors, but we are working on it one project at a time. Okay, so now that we have the refrigerator over here, it's actually really a lot more easy for me to get into my food stores because it's a shorter distance to the sink, it's a shorter distance to the counter and the stove. So I actually like it here a lot better. And then over here, we put the freezer. Now whenever this was where the refrigerator was. I ran out of wallpaper, I have some more coming. This was where the refrigerator was. Now, what I don't understand is whenever I took the refrigerator out of here, hold on. Whenever I took the refrigerator out of here, I've got things for a shelf. So in the original house, there was a shelf here. My question to you is, where was the refrigerator originally? It may have been over there, or maybe a refrigerator that was that tall. No information. But that's the extent of my kitchen. It's like 8 feet by 13 feet. That's it. That's all I have, and no dining room. I have a tiny house. But let's go ahead and get some meal prep done. First one I'm going to do is called Bimbop. It is a Korean dish. It's with rice at the bottom, and then you have fermented vegetables along with some seasoned fried meat and an egg on top. I'm going to make a few of those with rice for Grandpa, and I have some noodles, my grain-free noodles for me to be able to, so I can have some. And then I'm going to do some stuffed acorn squash. I got some from the farmer's market, and I have some ground beef. And we're going to go ahead and make some beef sausage to stuff into the acorn squash. Now, if you don't have any idea of how to make rice, get yourself a rice cooker. I can't do it on the stovetop. I'll burn it every time. I'm one of them weird people. What you want to do is you want to add 1 part rice, 2 parts water. So if you're doing 1 cup of rice, you're going to put in 2 cups of water. Notice I'm not rinsing it. And this is sweet rice. This is that sushi rice. You're supposed to rinse your rice off, but most places already do that for you. So it's not necessary. Not in the United States anyway. Now you can add other things in here to spice things up. Cardamom pod, anise star, maybe even a little salt. I don't add salt to this. We're already going to have enough salt in the dish that we're going to have. You close that, turn it on, push white rice, and set aside. Now we have the pan heating up. We want to be able to put a little bit of oil in there, and our nice combination: soy sauce, ginger, paprika or cayenne pepper, garlic, and fish sauce. Hold on, there it is. Okay, that's our base for the marinade for the meat. We want to go ahead and prepare the meat. I already have this. I bought this sliced. This is a specialty of the Korean market near me. Okay, now this is going to be a lot. We're going to go ahead and split this in half, but we are going to process all of this because you don't need that much for a bimbop. Maybe that much per serving. Okay, just a small handful. We're going to make several of these, and you know, meat. We also want to cut up 1 leek. These are a little bit old, so I'm going to go ahead and get these prepared. Okay, you want to split it down the middle. Okay, and you're going to separate these out because there's still dirt in the middle of these. See that? You don't want to eat that. What I do is I slice it up first, then put it in a bowl and wash it all. You want to make sure you get everything separated. And rinsed. Okay, let that set for about a second so the dirt can fall to the ground, to the bottom, and then filter that out with a strainer. Okay, same with mushrooms. I'm using the, I don't know what type of mushrooms these are. Enoki? Call it enoki mushrooms. They're those tiny, long mushrooms. For these, I am growing mushrooms, and I'll show that to you in a short. It's really easy, and I probably will do a video on it. I just need to get more spores. Okay, we want plenty of oil. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. One tablespoon of fish sauce. Enough garlic to wake the dead. And since my ginger didn't do anything this year, because it was in the ground, we're going to put in an equal amount of crushed ginger puree that I had to buy. Okay, this is the base for the meat and some of these veggies. Okay, and about 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne. Usually they, whenever you have Asian, usually whenever you have Asian dishes and stuff like this, they have they actually cut up the peppers. I don't have any of those. I could have bought some, but the Korean peppers that they're in the store are way too hot for me. And my shishitos did not do anything this year. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and switch to the wood. Let that cook a little bit. Now first you want to add the leek. And let this get a little bit, let it cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, now at this point you want to taste the sauce a little bit, see if it needs anything like a little bit of honey or whatnot. For me, this is fine. The reason why you want to taste it before is because we're adding the meat now. You see how it just soaked up all that sauce? There's hardly any left on the bottom. And that's what we want to see. Okay, so at this point you want to add a little bit of water and cover it up and let it steam and cook on medium for about 15 minutes. Alright, so after it's cooked all the way through, you're going to go ahead and take this off. You're going to evaporate the water with everything in it because you don't want to lose the flavoring. And then at this point you want to add, if you want to, your mushrooms. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and divide that up. These mushrooms does have a lot of water in it, and this will cook down. You want the water to evaporate with the rest of it. If you want to eat this fresh, you can. You can put it on top of the bimbop with all the other veggies. I never really found a need for it. I like it better inside the meat. And you want to go ahead and cook that down, let everything evaporate, and then you want to try to caramelize the meat. you know, kind of put like a sear to it. The sugars from the soy sauce and the fish sauce will help with that, along with the sugars from the mushrooms and the onions. Okay, now that we're working on evaporating all that water, let's go ahead and work on our acorn squash. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these in half. We want to be able to scoop out the seeds, and then we're going to go ahead and put these in a tray of water. Put them in the oven at 350 for at least an hour. Okay, and give these to your chickens, worms. I need to give these to the worms. They need to be fed. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add water, and hey, rice is done. Now that I was, rudely interrupted, let's continue. Add water, just enough to maybe an inch of water on the ground, half an inch to an inch. Cover it up with foil, put it in the oven for at least an hour, and that way it will cook and soften this up, because we're making ready meals. We can just put this in the microwave and then eat at our convenience. Okay, see how it's getting reducing? We still want moisture in our food, but we want it more of a sauce type texture. So let's keep on evaporating this down. You can use 1 pound for 2 acorn squash. Okay, and you want to make sure you can, because these were frozen, make sure that it's unfrozen. I've still got a little bit left in the middle that needs to thaw out. But if you ever have anything like that and you're in a hurry, go ahead and just cut up the small frozen core. It'll thaw out. Now, since this is 2 pounds, we're going to do 2 teaspoons of salt. Now for pepper, we are going to do a half a teaspoon. So it's going to be a little bit peppery. Tablespoon of, you guessed it, my friend garlic. Okay, and half a tablespoon of fennel seeds. But in reality, you can make any type of spices that you want. This is just a very simple sausage. You're going to mix them up, preferably by hand. That way you know you got everything nice and mixed up. Now, ideally, you want to put this in a Ziploc bag, put it in the refrigerator overnight to marry the flavors. So let's go ahead and pretend I did that, because today I do not have the magic of YouTube. But we are going to go ahead and let that rest for a little bit. About an hour. Okay, so now that all of the water has evaporated and it's starting to caramelize, you don't want to burn it, but it should look like this. See how it's almost burnt? It's kind of what you want. That's where the flavor is. And you want to keep on doing that until your desired burntness, if that's even a word. But it's not quite done yet. It's about halfway done for me. Okay, so now that that is almost done, let's go ahead and work on, we're going to add another leek to the stuffed acorn squash. I'm going to add some Napa cabbage just for some green inside of it. We're going to cook all this down and then put it together. Okay, so I have all of our ingredients. Okay, we have the meat. Let's get the lighting better. Okay, so lighting's better. Rice, meat, we have Brussels sprouts, salted seaweed, kimchi that we made. And yes, this does last forever in the refrigerator. This is called fern, royal fern. It is actually a really nice and delicate vegetable. If you pick them early, see how it's curled like that? Okay, before it leaves out, you can pick them and cook them. You can pickle them. It is very edible. I have seasoned soybean sprout, pickled radish, and then we have our rice. So let's go ahead and assemble the bimbop. Okay, so this is a lot. Okay, so you actually may have leftovers for this. Okay, you want to put rice at the bottom or on the side. Okay, however much you think you're going to eat. Like I said, this one's for Grandpa. We're making his first. This will probably make 3. Okay, now you want to add the meat. Grandpa likes meat. He's not a big fan of the fern, but I'm going to sneak it in here anyway. Okay, try to make it a little bit pretty. Okay. Pickled radish. I'm actually going to cut these up into smaller pieces because they come in really big pieces. If I can get it open. Come on. Oh. I did not. I would not have bode well. Actually, I don't need to. These are pretty decent size. So I'm going to do that much radish per. Okay, a little bit of seasoned soybean sprout. This is a little bit spicy. Actually, no. That did not bode well. This is why you make your own kimchi. Store-bought doesn't last for some reason. They don't do it correctly. So this is the kimchi that we made. So a little bit. Thing is that you have enough vegetables here to do just a little bit every time. Fresh sprout right in the middle, and your salted seaweed. Not too much of this either, because this is a lot of salt. In fact, I'm probably going to rinse this salt off. Give me a minute. There we go. I'm going to rinse that whole bag off. The salt is to help it preserve it. I understand the need for that much salt, but damn, that's a lot of salt. So, make a few of these. Okay, you have your rice at the bottom, seaweed, Brussels sprout or bean sprouts, kimchi, pickled radish, and that fried meat that we did. A little bit of fern. And this is perfect for lunch. Now I'm going to go show you what mine is. Okay, so while we're waiting for the noodles to cook, we're going to go ahead and work on the sausage stuffing for the acorn squash. Now, what I've done here is that I just added the leeks and the cabbage to this, fried it up to almost to where I had that meat. It soaked up all the oil and everything. That's what we want to do. Adds a little bit of flavor to this. I still have that soy sauce, fish sauce type thing in here. The flavorings. You can clean your pan if you want, I find that this actually adds a little bit more flavor. We are going to go ahead and put the sausage in there. And turn that back on. Oh, and if you think a cast iron wok would work in your home, Walmart sells them. I don't know what the price is now, but whenever I bought this 2 years ago, it was 50 bucks. This is what I mean by mushroom noodles. It's pasta zero. Spaghetti, you can get this in the vegetarian department. I need to move this to the light. One moment. Okay. This is next to like the tofu and vegan cheese, things of that nature. See how much comes out of one bag. No, one bag, one meal. Okay, pickled radish, seaweed. I like seaweed. I like fern. You could probably use the fern as the noodles. Okay, meat. Make it pretty. And here comes the hot stuff. You want your kimchi. Gotta have kimchi. It's good for your gut and bacteria. And the older it is, the spicier it is. So these have been sitting in my refrigerator since we made it in that video. Putting this in the fridge does not stop the fermentation process. It slows it down to the point to where it won't mold. It'll still get hotter and hotter and hotter and more sour the more that it sits in your fridge. I say again, it does not stop the fermenting process. Aren't they a thing of beauty? And the thing is that whenever the new refrigerator gets here, it'll be easier to pick these up than every single itty bitty packet. So that's what I'm doing, is I'm preparing for the new refrigerator to get here, using as much of the fresh vegetables as possible, so we can go ahead and transfer. Okay, now that we have almost have this, nice and browned, I do have one of these. Let's get this out. I like this. I like this a lot. Get you one. You want to brown this to about where it was, because there's still a lot of moisture from the meat in here, a lot of grease. We want to get as much of this moisture out as possible, so we can go ahead and just stuff the acorn squash. And each half of those acorn squash is going to be 1 serving. That's going to be a lot of food, even just for the acorn squash. That's the reason why we're adding vegetables to this, because it's probably going to be a 1-pot meal. All you need to do is add a little bit of cheese on top. You've got a full, balanced meal right there. Okay, so now that we have the meat and the acorn squash nice and ready, let's go ahead and put everything together, put it in the fridge, and then we can go ahead and relax and grab something to eat. Okay, so each one of these is not going to fit in one of these. So we're probably going to have to cut these in half, so this will be 8 lunches. Still a large meal. Maybe? Ouch. That's worm. Worm. You can tell these are definitely done. We can do this. Hey, look at that. Hey, Sissa, you were asking about bloopers? There we go. Let's go ahead and get everything out of the way. So we have 4 acorn squash, halfway deconstructed. Whenever you warm this up, you can put cheese on top. So that fennel gives it a sweetness to it, along with the acorn squash. There were a little bit of cheese would do good on this. Maybe some sour cream. Ooh, sour cream. I think I know which one I'm having for dinner tonight. But this will help moving stuff from the old refrigerator to the new refrigerator, because we're going to be selling that. It still works, it's just really, really falling apart. Okay, and 2 of my Bimbop with the noodles. And then 3 of the Bimbop for Grandpa. And that was done in about 2.5 hours total. I did buy most of this, the fermented stuff, which, you know, like the pickled radish and stuff. If you want to, you can use any fermented vegetable that you want with this. Asian like a lot of ferment because it helps with your gut health. And this is for whenever it starts getting into the 40s, hopefully, here real soon. Well, thank you for coming to my chaos. We'll still be working on this probably even next week. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next week. I'll think about it. I have a friend of mine who just did 5 pumpkins and she canned it all. That's a little much for me, but she does have dogs. Pumpkin is a very good anti-parasitic for animals. So don't feed your dogs the canned pumpkin because that's not real pumpkin. It is a yellow squash that simulates that the Chinese call pumpkin. It's not pumpkin. Okay, it'll actually give them the runs. Real pumpkin helps dogs and other animals with their digestive system. So, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next week.